Thank you so much for having me here. Firstly, I just want to congratulate Nipun, Radhika, and the whole team for this beautiful campus. I couldn't have imagined from the outside that it is as beautiful and itna bada hai actually. So when I came in also, I was just looking and it was actually a feeling of pride that in India we have such amazing institutions because education is what has changed my life and my husband Rohan and I always believe that education is what has given us the path we are on. So it is an incredibly important aspect of life, and the way that you all are investing in it, it's really commendable. This is truly what can change the future of India, and each one of you sitting here is a part of that future, is building and shaping that future. So kudos to you all, because we all remember our teachers, we all remember kis ma'am ne kya sikhaya tha abhi tak. That is the role that you are playing today in lives of students. So it's incredibly amazing. So keep it up, and so proud of you guys. Thank you for having me here. So as they mentioned in my introduction, I grew up in Ambala, which is a small town. And, growing up, I always used to think कि हाँ शायद मैं कभी बाहर जाऊंगी पढ़ने के लिए अम्बाला से बाहर, right? I never really thought कहाँ पे क्या. And in class 10, I got 100 on 100 in mathematics. So me and my parents and all were going to Allahabad to meet our Nana Nani. And then in the train, we saw an advertisement for Singapore Airlines scholarship. And my dad said, why don't you apply for this? And I said, पूरे इंडिया में से 25 लोगों को लेके जाना है. What are the chances that a girl from Ambala is going to be one of those 25? And I think sometimes as individuals, as women also, we tend to doubt ourselves. We tend to think कि नहीं हम कहाँ आएंगे, right? Then that was my first lesson in life, that until you go and try, you don't know what you're capable of. So therefore you should not give up before you even try. So first reaction was no. Second was नहीं ठीक है, मैं apply करती हूँ इसके लिए. Let me see where I stand. हरियाणा में तो I'm a topper and all, but India में क्या होगा? So I applied for it. And then, fortunately, at each stage, it worked out, and I got through, and I went to Singapore. I did my A-levels there. Then I got a scholarship to the London School of Economics. So I did mathematics and economics. And then I worked at Goldman Sachs in London for 5 years. So did investment banking, सुबह 8 बजे से लेके रात को 12 बजे तक, रोज, those were our working hours, which taught us a lot. But after 5 years of doing that, and that's when I got married to my husband Rohan. He was also my colleague, my friend at LSE. We were flatmates. Then we got married. So we always used to keep thinking कि कुछ अपना शुरू करते हैं. In fact, it was more him. He used to always tell me. And after getting married, every weekend, in London, we would go to explore some new business idea. And मैं उसको कहती थी कि लोग घूमने के लिए जाते हैं शादी के बाद, तुम हर weekend मुझे एक नया business idea explore करने ले जाते हो. Like, what is this, But I think that's where our sort of basis of friendship and wanting to start a business, become entrepreneurs, it all kind of came together. And then we were using these cashback sites in the UK, and we thought कि ये अच्छा है, when you're shopping online, you're getting money back. So if somebody knows about it, why won't they do it? So with that in mind, sort of we got in the cashback space, and then हमने UK में अपना business launch किया called Pouring Pounds. We expanded it to India. We launched Cashkaro. So now it's been 10 years. Cashkaro is a popular cashback app in India. अगर आपने नहीं देखी है, you can download it, and whenever you are shopping online, चाहे Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, किसी भी site पे आप shop कर रहे हैं, if you go via Cashkaro and shop, तो you get extra cashback from our side. और सारे डिस्काउंट्स के ऊपर आपको ये मिलता है, एंड यू कैन कलेक्ट इट, यू कैन ट्रांसफर इट टू योर बैंक, सो यू गेट इट एज रियल कैश. सो मतलब हर अमेजोन परचेज पे आपको 5% मिल सकता है, हर मामाअर्थ पे, वाओ पे, मिंत्रा, अजियो, नाइका, जिस भी साइट पे आप शॉप कर रहे हो, इवन साइट्स लाइक लैंकॉम, आई मीन वी गिव 50% कैश बैक ऑन लैंकॉम. सो देयर आर सम क्रेजी डील्स ऑल्सो. So in India, we felt there was a good product market fit, that people are shopping online, they like to save money. So with that, we became entrepreneurs, and the journey from employee to employer probably happened there.
I think that's really inspiring for a lot of us who are sitting here, that you must try. If you don't try, you wouldn't know. So your experience in Singapore, you did your grade 11 and 12 there. What changes would you like to see, like in an Indian education system? What do you think really made you, ahead of the curve because you were studying there?
Well, I personally think the quality of education in India is quite good, because सब मेहनत करके समझाते हैं, मेहनत करके, we kind of make effort to teach, right, which is quite good. What I did feel though was that in all the places that I studied abroad, they were less theoretical, they were more practical. And that's a change that is nice to see, if it comes in India also. Plus, the way homework is managed. Just yahan pe, I have seen often like kids come back with a lot of homework, then they're going for tuitions, then like they basically have no time. Like kids today are busier than anyone working at Goldman Sachs because they are like going from classes. So I felt there was a little bit more free time given in other places as well. So maybe that, but my real learning were two things. One, to make it more practical, and second, to do it in slightly smaller classes. Because in all the classes that we did in Singapore and US, UK, there were always, no more than 20-25 students. But in my classes in India, we always were 60, 70. I know you guys are ahead of the curve, but I studied in Ambala, right? So that is my experience.
And as a woman, how has your journey been? Mostly I think there are women here who could be teachers and who had a journey of their own, and we all have to overcome some things.
Yeah.
So what was it, is there anything that you faced particularly and how you overcame that?
Yeah. Well, people always, when they meet me, sometimes they introduce me as a woman entrepreneur. And I tell them that, that's secondary. I am an entrepreneur. Whether I'm a male or a female is secondary. And that is where I think I've always learned that, like especially if you are a woman in many places, ho sakta hai teaching mein aisa nahi ho. Teaching might be the only profession where it's not true. But in my journey, like in Singapore, those out of 25 people, 70% were boys. In LSE, the people who got a scholarship, 80% were boys. And Goldman Sachs, pura ratio hi aisa hai, 80% boys and 20% female. Even in the startup scene in India, if you see women in tech are not as many. Again, it's like a 70-80% ratio. But I've never let that bother me. There are stereotypes that exist, right? Sometimes when we go to meetings, people will automatically look at Rohan when they want to ask, "Acha, aapke revenues kaise hain? Aapke profit kaise hai?" And then I am the one who will answer. So they will look here like, "Oh, acha, she knows." तो पहले लोगों का impression ऐसा होता है. But I feel that, if you are confident about what you're doing and, you're good at what you do, you will get recognized. It's not an age where, that bias will be held against you, because at the end of the day, even that investor wants to make money. Even, the person on the other end also wants to work with someone who's capable. So I've never let that bother me. But, to your question, in fundraising, there is, a lot of up and down that we do see when it's male versus female. So far, we have raised about 250 crores almost in funding, which, I've led all those rounds as well. Yeah, but in each of those meetings, I've never really let it bother. I mean, in Korea, I remember that when I was pitching, it was a room full of Korean men who couldn't even understand English properly. So trying to pitch to them and patiently explain everything, I felt as a woman I could get across better, in fact. Yeah.
So what are the dynamics of working with your husband and co-founder Rohan? What makes your partnership work? How do you maintain, a balance between the personal and professional life? And how is it really collaborating with your spouse in a business setting?
Yeah. Well, so we have been married for 13, 14 years now, out of which we have been working together for 10, 11 years. So bulk of our, major time married has been together. And we found that it's actually, we found it easy to strike that balance, because the trust that you have, when it's your spouse as co-founder, is really important, and it's unconditional, right? Because aksar if you see co-founders ki aapas mein kuch na kuch separation ho jata hai startup mein, because ultimately there are two different individuals who are saying ki maine itna kiya, tune kitna kiya. But in case of husband wife thing, that doesn't happen, because you both know that there is so much that you are sacrificing together as a couple to do this, that you have a good dynamic. And most importantly, it's about having a complementary skill set. So Rohan is good in product, data, tech. I'm good in marketing, PR, social, brand, investor relations. So based on our natural skill set and based on our natural interest, our worlds kind of get divided. So even, when we had our meeting with Mr. Ratan Tata, he was okay for me to lead that meeting because that is my domain, you know. Yeah.
It's amazing. So through your Instagram handle, we know, I think at least I know that you've been through a kidney transplant earlier this year, and you've been an inspiration to so many people out there. So what are and challenges come in everybody's lives, and then somehow we don't know how to overcome them, and it takes us back. But with you, we've seen that it's you've really taken it in your stride. So how have you gone through the year?
Yeah, well, almost 20 years ago when I was at LSE, in fact, after my first year, I came back to, Ambala for holidays, and I used to get this allergy, and we just got, blood tests done and, all the tests done, and it showed that there's a kidney problem. So I remember sitting with the doctor, and that first time we ever found out, and my mom though was crying, and I was asking the doctor, ki, what next? What do we do? And she was like, how are you talking about what next? Like, I'm to still trying to absorb ki there's a problem. I said, mama, problems will come in everyone's life. At least meri problem bata kya rahi hai. That is a very good thing. So now we have to deal with it. And that's how the journey sort of started, with that attitude. And I think, with all the health issues that I'm sure come in all our lives, it's really about the attitude and the spirit with which we deal with them. So through these 20 years, I've managed, my kidney function kept on declining, but I managed a normal life because I, ate properly, I took care of myself health-wise, whatever I could do. But of course, after a point, you do need a transplant because the kidney function is not there. So last year, I remember we were fundraising. We were doing our Series C. So we raised 130 crores in the end. But during that time, I was basically at a hemoglobin of 5.5. And, with maybe like 4-5% kidney function, I used to go to all my meetings. I would pitch. You couldn't tell anything. And at the same time, we were doing tests with my mom to see ki, is she a good match for me? So people would ask, ki, how can you do this? Ki ek taraf you're coming and talking about pitching an investor. Second half of the day you're going to the hospital. I said, that's okay, because when I'm there, you have to be in that moment where you are. And even after that, like once my mom was a match, we planned everything. 4th November, we did our press release. The fundraise was done. It was a weekend. I met up with all my friends. Monday, we checked into the hospital. Thursday was my surgery. 2 weeks later, I was back home, rested a little bit. Then I started work from home. And that's exactly how I had planned it. Because I think, I just told myself that the universe has your back and you need to have faith and believe that things will be fine. And I think for all of us, that is the mantra really to live with. To have faith and visualize yourself in that. Like I would visualize that, yeah, I'll be back from office and I'll be back on this seat of my desk at home in 2 weeks, and I was. So I think when you have that mental image, then I think you get the support, and when you have that faith, your energy is good, you attract good things, people also are all supportive. So you kind of just have to take it in your stride. Yeah.
It's amazing. I think it's given me some goosebumps after listening to this, and how you remain positive through and through, and you're sitting here with us very much. So the other thing that I also do see again through your Instagram is your CK morning show. So to the ones who've not seen it, this is, I think, a sort of shared culture that you follow at Cashkaro with all your team.
Yeah.
So what, how have you built this company culture? How do you celebrate all those special moments with your team?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, for startups, and even I'm sure in your own domain, you see, that having a good company culture is really the basis of it, because people want to feel appreciated. They want to be in an environment where they are happy. So my motto has always been that everybody who works with us at Cashkaro should be happy. They should feel happy about coming to work. So we were doing lots of things for company culture, and then COVID came. So at the start of COVID, we said, okay, everybody work from home. But then after 2 weeks, I was like, what is happening? Like, we don't meet each other online, क्योंकि कोई set time तो नहीं है. सब लोग अपना login किया, काम किया, log off किया. So how do you meet? So then we started this thing that okay, at 9:30 every day, let's do a video call, which I started calling the CK Morning Show, and we are still hosting it 3.5 years later. So we start our day with the CK Morning Show, where अगर किसी का birthday है, work anniversary है, जो भी है, we celebrate that. And what happens is, let's say if it's your birthday, right, I'll wish you, then I'll also say like, what do I like about you, right? So many other people will praise you. So you start your day with a note of gratitude and appreciation. And I think gratitude and appreciation have been cornerstones of our company culture at Cashkaro. And because of that, when everyone feels appreciated, they also want to do their best, right? So it is like a cycle that works well. So we've been doing that, plus we do like quarterly town halls where we do Cashkaro Superstar Awards. We do various events and games and things. Plus we also focus on learning and development. So we focus on that a lot, that let's make sure that if people are learning and growing, then they will want to continue, right? So it's also a tool for retention.
And what advice would you like to give, our school leaders for building and maintaining a positive school culture, whether it's with their colleagues and or whether it's with the students who are actually in their class?
I think, once I was hearing a video long back, which was talking about how each leader and each teacher needs to make sure that when they come into their workplace, their own battery is fully charged. Because if your battery is fully charged, then only you can go and charge others, right? I mean, as a teacher, we have the ability and the influence to change so many lives, right? So what I feel it's most important that we should have a good morning routine such that when we come to work, we are ready to give our best. If we if we come to work frustrated or in a bad mood, वो बेचारा बच्चों पे ही निकलेगा. So which I'm sure that all of you don't do that, but I say this to our leaders and I say this to myself, right, that when I go to work, if I am carrying personal baggage to work, my people are not going to get the best from me. So I have made sure that I have a good morning routine where, I exercise, I spend some time with doing some affirmations. It's very easy nowadays on YouTube. You type morning positive affirmations. You have videos and videos, and वो रोज आपको नए नए दिखाएंगे. There's so much content on YouTube, right? So you have that. If there's any kind of yoga you do, meditation that you do, which kind of gives you your own sanity, right? Because I'm sure when we all go to work, we want to do our best, but then we have a lot going on. We have home to manage, we have kids at home, we have parents at home, so many different things, right? So I think the start of a good company culture is that people at the top need to make sure that they are coming fully charged. And after that, it's about saying that how do we focus on the positives? How do we spread positive energy so that we are also then attracting good things to us? And I think in the education system, right, we don't have as much focus on ethics. We don't have as much focus on the whole power of affirmations and visualization, which we are all learning now. But I wish when I was in school somebody taught me this. I would have been so much more successful because I would know how to use these tools for my self development. Now I am teaching myself at 40. If I learned it at 14, it would have changed. And it may not be part of curriculum, but can we teach it through other means? Yeah, maybe. And that can lead to a good culture.
No, absolutely. I personally believe that affirmations are the go-to mantra right now in this time and age. Can you highlight any specific qualities or skills that you believe that are crucial, in this entrepreneurial world for students to, learn so that the principals here can, take forward the knowledge?
Well, I think there's a lot that we can aim to teach our students. Number one of which would be how to not get distracted, right? Because I think the current generations, X, Y, Z, or Z, Z, all of them, right? There is a lot of distraction right now for kids. So when I see kids as well, they are, even youngsters, 8, 9, 10th, they'll be talking, saath mein they are doing their call also, then they have all the notifications popping up. So even if you take away the phone, it won't help because, the distraction is, you'll find it somewhere else, right? But I think the ability to say that how can I not be distracted? Can we create time bubbles for them to say ki, okay, this much time you focus on this, then you get this much phone time, or then you get this much screen time. I think that's really important, that we have to teach them somehow to build concentration. Everyone says concentrate, concentrate, but how do you concentrate? How can we teach them to concentrate? If we can, that is a game changer. If you see today people at work who we have a team of 430 people now. More than 400 of them would be distracted this very minute. I can say that, right? Because that's how the generation is. So I also tell them ki just try and say ki okay, make a list every day of these are the things to do, prioritize them, say what is urgent, what is important, make sure you pick up the important, and then after that keep ticking your boxes and say कि okay, create a time block कि okay, 1 घंटा HR के लिए, 1 घंटा marketing के लिए, 1 घंटा इतने के लिए. So we have to teach them somehow to be able to do that, right? That's number one. Second, of course, the ability to not give up. I think that's really important, right? We have to teach this to kids from the start itself. I was listening to Jack Ma yesterday. Right, he was, he, as you know, is the founder of the Alibaba Group, probably one of the richest people in the world. He was never good in studies, but he said that, and he was saying, I come from a college also that's not so good. Still, I did better than people who came from other colleges because I just didn't give up. I had so many challenges on the way. I just kept going, right? Otherwise, can we teach our kids the value of appreciation, right? Kids find it very hard to appreciate somebody else. They're all used to getting their own praise. But can we teach them कि आप दूसरों की तारीफ करो? Enough thank you बोलो. छोटी छोटी बात पे thank you बोलो, so that gratitude becomes a part of your life, right? Can we teach them respect? Yeah. Respect is actually a value at Cashkaro, and I think kids need to be taught that even from now, because even small things, right? They might say, oh, talk nicely to your grandparents because mummy is saying it, or do you feel like it's the right thing to do? You may not do it to them today, but tomorrow what will you do to the kid who actually didn't go into your kind of school, went to a lower school? Are you going to look down upon them? Can you teach them to respect, right? That's important, because ultimately our kids will only become good future leaders if they have all these tenets, right? They might graduate from a good school, but if we can focus on making them good human beings as well, then only they will make us proud to the extent that we would want them to be. So I think focusing on some of that is important. Plus the value of reading, last one. Because nowadays so many kids, they start off reading. By the time they reach 8, 9, they're like, oh no, I'm not into reading. It doesn't excite me. I'm like, it's not about what excites you. It's good for you. Just do it, right? So that balance is hard now. It's getting harder every day.
No, absolutely. I think we all have a few points to take away from that. So, in this world now, what is the role of innovation play that, so that the world is so competitive now. So how are you innovative in your business, or how do you see your friends around you?
Yeah.
What's your...
Well, it's really important also because you're getting copied really fast, right? So to build that competitive advantage. So, the first, we touched upon it before about the fundraising journey. But when we first raised money, it was from angel investors in the UK, right? So, and the whole reason why we were able to do it was because we will innovate our product and make it a localized product for India. And then after that, the next round that we did with Kalari Capital was again saying that, okay, abhi hum cashback offer karte hain har cheez pe. Now we will also expand into price comparison, into coupons, build browser tool extensions, run cashback sites for ICICI Bank, for Yes Bank, so again using technology to say how do we do different things. The next round we did was because we launched Earn Karo. So Earn Karo is something that, in fact, many of you can also use. It is a social cashback app. मतलब कि अगर आपको ऑनलाइन किसी भी प्रोडक्ट को आप लोगे Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra से, आप अपना affiliate link बना सकते हो उस प्रोडक्ट के लिए, and then you can share your link in your WhatsApp group, Telegram group, anywhere. And if somebody shops from your link, you earn money, right? So it's like saying that, let's say if you ask me what is my favorite book, and rather than giving you the book link from Amazon, I will paste that on Earn Karo, make my link for that book and share with you. तो उसके बाद अगर आप में से कोई भी उस लिंक पे क्लिक करके, you will go to directly Amazon and buy, but I will get a commission for every sale. So this way, there are a lot of people in India who are making money. In fact, I mean, we actually have a lot of teachers who use, because all the book recommendations, they make their own links and give, via Amazon or wherever. May not be applicable to you guys. I'm just saying that there are a lot of use cases. So we did that because, we saw influencers, micro influencers coming up saying, how do we earn extra money? Housewives, students, everyone wanting to say, how do we earn extra money? But they're already part of WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups. So they make their own links and keep sharing, and, they earn extra money. So innovation has, it's every step, right? Your own collaboration for the culinary kitchen with LCB, that's innovation, right? There's so much happening in that space. Look at the kitchens, the way the technology is being used to teach. So everybody needs to be on top of it, and there's no room not to. In fact, I'd like to share our meeting with Mr. Tata that happened, because it also, we also spoke about innovation there. So I remember we asked our investors saying, can you introduce us to Mr. Tata? We want to say, can you give for investment, we want to pitch. So पहले तो एक दो लोगों ने बोला कि फ़ायदा क्या है, he will only invest if it's an NGO or some kind of social impact business. So I was like, that's okay, let him say no, at least hum try to kare, we will. And that was again the same thing, right? Don't take no for an answer until you go try. So we met Mr. Tata. He was actually sitting at the Taj, chambers, long table, having his lunch. And they told me कि Mr. Tata sitting here, you can go pitch here. एक आपका वो बड़ा सा board है, you can pitch there. 20 minutes का slot है. So I went, I stood there. Then I was like, सिर्फ 20 minutes हैं, and I'm going to be standing there. He's sitting here. There's going to be no eye contact. How is he ever going to invest in our company? He won't even get to know us. So I just, gathered some guts, and I asked him, sir, do you mind if I don't stand there and I sit across from you and just have a chat? We'll use the same 20 minutes, but rather than itna dur, I would rather just sit here. He said, yeah, sure, sit. So we sat there and we had a good conversation. He was asking questions also. So in fact, he also asked, how are you using innovation in your business? And we answered, different things. The meeting khatam ho gayi, we took a photo and went. And 2 hafte tak, there was no reply. So I used to tell Rohan, koi baat nahi, photo to mil gayi, investment nahi mili, koi baat nahi. Then suddenly we get a call at night, 10 o'clock. I get a message saying, hi Swati, this is Venkat, can you call me? And Venkat was one intern at Cashkaro at that time. So I was like, ये intern रात को 10 बजे फ़ोन कर रहा है आजकल के, मतलब क्या उसको क्या चाहिए? So I didn't first answer. Then I was like, he's a sensible guy. If he's calling, maybe he needs something. So I actually called back. And then it was like, hey, this is Venkat from Mr. Tata's office. And I was like, oh no, don't ever go by the name. So he said, we loved your business and we'd like to invest. And it just came out of the blue, right? And I was like, wow. I said, are you sure? Because if you are saying yes, na, it's going to make me really happy. I don't want you to tell me tomorrow, ki, but ye tha, something. You take your time. He said, no, we are in. Just send me the docs. I was like, wow. Raat ko baith ke, I finalized it quickly and sent it over. But I think that experience taught me a couple of things. One, again, that don't take no for an answer until you ask. Because if I had actually not asked Mr. Tata to sit across, I don't think he would have invested, because the dynamics are completely different. जब आप वहाँ खड़े होके pitch कर रहे हो versus सामने किसी से बैठ के बात कर रहे हो. And second was that the fact that we have innovated to create 4-5 different products under Cashkaro itself. We have Earn Karo, Bank Karo, Store Networks, Buy Karo. All of that is also exciting for investors as well, for stakeholders, because they see you being on top of technology and of innovation. And the third is the value of having a good team, because entrepreneurs can also never raise money if it's just them, right? So each one of you here is as important to the mission of, what Nipun and Radhika are trying to do as, their own efforts, because the bigger your dream, the more important your team, right? You need them. Yeah.
So why Cashkaro? Or why pouring pounds? You started as pouring pounds. Did you have any other ideas at the time that you kind of checked off your list and said, this is not going to make it?
Yeah, well, in those weekend expeditions, Rohan took me once to this London mein, there are these coin machines कि everybody comes and घर पे इतना change होता है लोगों के पास, they just come and put it in the coin and you get a note back. So if you put like £1 worth of coins, तो आपका 2% कट के बाकी आपको मिल जाएगा. So First he used to think कि वो machines लगाते हैं हर जगह. I was never so excited about it. ऐसे करके there were like other ideas, but this one we felt is, I mean, if you're getting money back on your online shopping, why won't you do it? It's more just that, लोगों को पता नहीं होता या confuse कर देते हैं cashback किस type का है, different cashbacks होते हैं. But for us, it was just the product market fit was good. We saw global precedents हैं cashback sites के, which are all $1 billion. We saw the, business model makes sense, so we can attain profitability. So ticked off all our boxes.
And is there any way that, I know Cashkaro was also in touch with certain educational, funds and NGOs. So what is the work that you kind of do with them?
So there what we do is, like for example, अगर कोई भी institution है, कोई भी NGO है, they actually tell all their members कि आपको जो भी online shopping करनी है आप हमारे links के through करो. आपको हमने एक Amazon का link दे दिया, एक Flipkart का दे दिया, एक Myntra का दे दिया. You click on this, you land on Amazon, you will shop as normal. But that particular institution will keep getting extra money. So इस तरीके से it's basically a way for them to raise money.
And last but not the least, before we go on to a Q&A, what are your thoughts on the evolving landscape of internet companies in the time of AI now? What are the changes that you are seeing in your business, especially online?
Yeah. Well, it's a very exciting time, and when we were in London, we never thought कि हम सब कुछ पैक करके इंडिया आ जाएंगे. Like we spent about 11 years there, including all the education and Goldman and everything. But I think the Indian opportunity right now is super exciting. It's a very exciting time to be building businesses in India, because there is just so much opportunity, so much growth to come from rural India. So that's why Indian e-commerce is growing at the pace it is. It's expected to be a $200 billion market in the next 3 years itself. And that is why all of us who are coming back from abroad, because जिस तरीके की energy and hustle India में इस समय वो कहीं और नहीं है. Like London is not even half of that, right? So people ask me very often, do you regret coming back? I'm like, no way, no way, and once you start getting close to family and living close to family, you feel like, why do I need to go back and be all alone, right? The opportunity is there in India. You have so much support, and we are actually using AI in our businesses as well. We are creating chatbots on CRM. So if, let's say, you ask customer relations questions, so a lot of the automated responses are coming via AI. We are using them in our digital teams, design teams, video editing. We're also using them in product feeds. Lots of different, we're coding also using AI, some of it. AI, yesterday we did some PRDs in the product team using AI. So the team is constantly finding ways to innovate.
I think a big question with AI is that is AI going to take over the regular jobs that...
It won't take over as many, maybe 10%, but not more. Because, even if you ask AI for copy, right, like on my Instagram, and you guys can check out at Swati DB, so I post a lot of content. And if I am writing my own caption, then also, and I ask AI for suggestions, I'll never take as it is. A human intervention is needed to change it. So I think AI will help us become smarter and more efficient. It's not here to take our jobs, at least not for everyone. Only maybe some small roles here and there, but not much.
I think we can open the floor to questions.
We have one here, yes.
First question is your perfect example for balancing health and wealth, what you have gone through. So what is your advice whether health is important or wealth? Because post-COVID, everybody knew the importance of health as well.
Yeah.
That's the first question. And second, as an entrepreneur, of late we are seeing a rush towards valuations and listing. Great top line, but bottom line are bleeding. So what is your take on that, whether entrepreneurs should focus on bottom line and make it profitable, focus on just behind top line and increase valuations, do this way?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I would say कि आप हेल्थ पे फोकस करो ताकि वेल्थ बना पाओ क्योंकि हेल्थ के बिना वेल्थ तो नहीं बनेगी, लेकिन चाहिए दोनों लाइफ में. आई वुडेंट से कि एक काफ़ी है, बिकॉज इफ़ यू फोकस ऑन हेल्थ you need wealth for that also, because otherwise it just won't work. So both are needed for that. And for the other question, you know, most of us, how we are trying to approach it, like 2-3 साल पहले जब मैं fundraise कर रही थी, a lot of the conversation was around GMV, कि कितनी हम, जैसे अगर हम sales drive करते हैं, so we do about 4,000 crores of sales in a year to our partners. तो अगर मैं आपको आके बोलूँ कि मेरा नंबर 4,000 करोड़ है, I will sound like wow, like you know, बट ठीक है बट दोज आर द सेल्स दैट वी आर ड्राइविंग, जो हम उसमें से रेवेन्यू अर्न कर रहे हैं, दैट इज़ द फोकस ऑफ इट. सो नाउ वी हैव चेंज्ड आवर फोकस फ्रॉम सेइंग नॉट GMV बट रेवेन्यू, राइट. सो 250 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू हम करते हैं एक साल में, सो वी फोकस ऑन दैट नंबर. And now that when we do fundraise, the idea is to say कि can we grow faster. So profitable होने के चक्कर में हम अपने growth का path भी, we don't want to slow down, so we have to balance growth with profitability. Top line तो no, we can't focus on it, but we have to focus on what can give us growth and balance that with it. So at the moment, that's how we are trying to manage, saying कि let's keep our losses less than 15 crores a year and continue trying to grow fast. But if the losses start getting higher, then we will cut them down and then maybe cut down on the growth rate as well. Thank you.
So it is journey from 2013 to 2020.
Yes.
1 decade, I think we made a new mistake.
Yeah.
My question is, since we all belong from educational fraternity, can you share any success story which Cashkaro has brought into in terms of learning outcome or improving the use of resources, which is measurable?
Well, I mean, every year अगर आपके पास 50,000 रुपये एक्स्ट्रा आ जाए, आप उसको अपनी एजुकेशन में लगा सकते हो. What I have seen though is that people typically use the cashback that they earn to do things that they couldn't afford otherwise, right? It could be treating yourself to, you know, the shoes you've been eyeing, or it could be those guitar lessons, it could be classes that you may want to attend. And in fact, we find that many of the parents, when they earn cashback, वो वापस they say कि okay, this is like our kids को, we are putting them in this particular training area or school. So we have seen many users deploy their cashbacks like that. Maybe that answers your question.
Yes, I think, but extending this question to one more way, we normally believe there is a fight between Saraswati and Lakshmi. But we more believe if child is successful in life, in terms of having cash, having more respect. What you look into, you have both.
मेरे केस में तो कैश आता ही नहीं, if I wasn't educated, if I didn't get the kind of education I got. So for me, the Saraswati was important to bring the Lakshmi, and I think that works for everybody. Yeah. I don't think the other way works, but this way it definitely works. Yeah.
Hi ma'am.
Hello.
Here.
Yes.
So I'm a second generation businessman.
Okay.
I want you to bring some light on this. जब आप सेकेंड जनरेशन बिजनेसमैन हो तो आप बिजनेस को दूर से देखते हो ना, यू जस्ट टेक योर आइडियाज फ्रॉम मूवीज एंड दूर से सारी चीजें लगती है कि बड़ी आसान है. मतलब ऐसे लगता है कि हर बंदा हार्वी स्पेक्टर है या फिर ओबरॉय है, रटन टाटा. तुम कल से दुकान खोलोगे, बंदा आएगा और सामान लेके चले जाएगा, राइट? सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ लेडीज ओवर हियर, फॉर एग्जांपल मी आल्सो, राइट? व्हेन यू आर टेलिंग अस दैट यू वेंट फॉर अ फंडिंग राउंड, आप पे गए, आपको फंडिंग मिल गई, बट देयर विल बी आल्सो इंस्टेंसेस वेयर यू फेल. नहीं है. टेल अस अबाउट दैट आल्सो, बिकॉज़ सक्सेसेस के बारे जान के हमें हमारे फेलियर के बारे नहीं पता चलेगा. जो हमारे टेल अस समथिंग अबाउट द ग्राउंड रियलिटीज आल्सो.
I think firstly you raised a very important point कि जब हम ये बात कर रहे थे कि what should we teach our kids, I think we have to teach our kids how to accept failure. I think the current generation really struggles with that, right? And we can understand why. Nobody, you know, I mean, I can talk about failure today because we managed to raise money after that, right? If I hadn't raised money at all, then A, I wouldn't have come here. B, you know, I may or may not have spoken. So I think, yeah. थोड़ा up and down हो रहा है ना? थोड़ा keep it close. Yeah, use your Yeah. It's better now. You can hear me, right? Yeah. Yeah, I was saying कि so we have to encourage our kids on how to accept failure, because and ये हमारी टीम में भी होता है. When we tell anyone to try out something, they come back and you know sometimes they are a little sheepish to share कि हमने ये try किया, नहीं हुआ. So Rohan and I tell them कि you know, don't be afraid to fail, But what we want you to do is make sure you share with us. Don't hide it. So there are people who do things, then they hide. कि नहीं बताएंगे. But वो कभी पता लग जाता है. So we tell them कि आप पता लगे या ना लगे, don't be afraid to share what happened. So coming to your point itself, I think last year fundraise was difficult, right? Because the markets were turning. So in fact क्या हुआ है कि year before that, October, November onwards, our board kept on telling us कि you should start your fundraise. And I was thinking कि you know the year is March में ख़त्म होगा and we are doing well. So let the numbers come up, then we will start because we will have a good story. And obviously the investors also know the market, right? So they were like, next year the market is going to turn, start now. And I was like, चलो ठीक है, side पे थोड़ा थोड़ा शुरू किया. By the time we hit the road to start funding, it was April, May, and the markets were turning. So we went to Bombay, we went to some of the funds, we pitched to them. They were like, yeah, very good, but our fund has decided right now not to deploy any money. So I used to come back thinking, shit, they were right. They were right. And now, like, yes, it's our board, so I can't write to them saying, sorry, you were right, now I can't do anything. I can only say you were right, but I am trying and I am going to close this, right? And this is all happening when I know that I am running at 6-7% kidney function, तो इस साल मुझे तो transplant चाहिए ही. तो I was thinking कि ये मेरे को fundraise खत्म करना है जाने से पहले. So those 2-3 months were a little like, April, May, June, where we were thinking कि markets are turning now. Because what happens is, investors follow a very herd mentality. कर रहे हैं तो सब कर रहे हैं एक फील्ड में, नहीं कर रहे तो सब पॉज कर रहे हैं. सो उस समय दैट पॉज हैड स्टार्टेड हिटिंग. So for some time it was like that, but I used to think in these times also, right, if a business is good and if it's making sense, then people do have cash. It's not that they don't have cash to deploy. So we just carried on, and people told us it takes a year to fundraise. I said by ek saal to nahi hai, because this year I have to close this by October, November. And fortunately, in August itself, we found our right investor who, came, gave a nice term sheet. And term sheet ke baad, I told them before the term sheet was signed that I just want to tell you that I'm going to get a transplant and, I'll be back to work, but just so that you know. He said, no problem, I know you'll be fine, go ahead. So we did that, and we wrapped up the due diligence and everything in those 3 months for me to hit that 4th November deadline. But yeah, उसके पहले के जो 2-3 महीने थे, we don't often talk about it, but it was tough, and if it hadn't happened, then it would have been a proper story for you. But I'm glad it's not a proper story for you. Your story is my life. So yeah. I also think that for second generation entrepreneurs, right, sometimes people don't understand the challenge that you might go through, because they might think यार इसको तो बना बनाया मिल गया. Yeah, I can understand.
Ma'am, I have a question. Ma'am, for a layman, fundraising may not sound really, can you simplify this word for us? That what is fundraising and how does one go about it?
Yeah.
Also, we want to know how to download the app.
Okay, so the second part is easier. You can open your phone and go to Play Store or App Store and type Cashkaro, and you can download the app from there. So that's pretty simple, and once you download the app, you can just use your mobile number to create your account, and जब भी आपको shop करना हो Amazon, Flipkart, कहीं पे भी, you can come to Cashkaro first, go from here and shop. So that's the easy part. The fundraise is also easy, but see, basically what happens is, like, let's say me and Rohan started our company, right? So we both, let's say, started off with 50% equity. Now we put in our savings initially to grow the business, but now we are thinking कि यार team चाहिए, expand करना है, और कहाँ से लाएं? We cannot like sell our house to run the business. We also want कि हमारा कुछ asset अपना रहे, right? That's when you start thinking that, okay, can I get external investors? So you go to angel funds. There are funds called venture capital funds, or some friends and family offices, different type of institutions that are saying कि हम आपकी company का एक equity stake लेंगे और आपके company में पैसा डालेंगे. So it's not like how on the share market, because share market is a listed market. वहाँ से कोई भी anybody can buy and sell. But the shares of our company are not listed. So we have to talk in private to private investors saying, you put in money, I will give you stake. So that's how, when we do a fundraise, it means that we are going out to find investors for our business who are willing to take equity in our business and give us money to grow the business. So this way we went to first round to angel investors saying कि अच्छा 10 लोगों को हमने friends को इकट्ठा किया कि आप सब लोग 50,000 डाल दो, so you will get this much equity. Then the next round, because we needed more money, it was 25 crores. First round was 7 crores, so it was through angels. But when you need more 25 crores, then we went to Series A funds. So we told Kalari Capital, told kya, we tell anyone, then whoever is interested, we talk to them. Then again we gave them stake in our business and they gave us money. Now next round we wanted to raise 100 crores. Matlab now we need a larger investor. So you go from angel to Series A to Series B, Series C, and each round में there are investors who specialize in that kind of round. So angels, their appetite is to say कि हम 50,000 दे सकते हैं, तो मतलब वो शुरू में आएंगे, क्योंकि जब आप आगे आगे आपको ज़्यादा पैसे चाहिए होंगे, if you are trying to raise 100 crore, you may not take someone with 50,000, right? Because you might think कि ऐसे तो मुझे कितने सारे लेने पड़ेंगे. So you will want to go to larger investors. So that's how you sort of decide कि okay, who do you want to go with, and you keep doing your different rounds. So we have done, for example, 4 rounds of funding: Angel, Series A, Series B, Series C, and in between Mr. Tata as well. So 5 rounds of funding so far. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, yeah. It does. It does. Thanks, ma'am.
Sorry? One only. Attempt एक ही था. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please. From where, sorry? Acha, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so my question is that out of the curriculums that the schools are providing at the moment, why did you choose commerce, especially coming from an era, you just said you're touching 40, so coming from an era where being a doctor and an engineer was the priority, but you didn't opt for that. Why would you go for commerce?
Yeah.
And if you did choose commerce, and what were the challenges you faced while you went through your journey with commerce and economics especially?
I want to study economics. I like the thought of it. But people say I should also do PCM to keep my options open. This is how the world operates, right? कि क्या करोगे आगे PCM कर लो, options खुली रहेगी. So इसलिए and I was.
What were the challenges you faced while you were into your economics?
Well, I mean, there wasn't any challenge as such, because actually I did it only for
with respect to building your career, I mean.
Yeah. Well, for me it was different, because when I started doing PCM and economics, after 3 months only I actually went to Singapore, because that was my class 11 scholarship. So 11th मैंने यहाँ शुरू किया था, but वो scholarship वहाँ हो गई, तो I transferred. So वहाँ पे भी 11th 12th में I did this only, PCM with economics, and I took some special papers in mathematics and economics both, which were harder. But my whole idea was कि I want to go to a good college, so how do I get there? And then in trying to do LSE, so in LSE also I did economics and mathematics. I don't know why, but I had picked these 2 subjects then. I think it was because बाकी सब appealing नहीं लग रहा था. Like,
basically you don't know why, but you landed.
Yeah, like I did it because so maths I was always good at. So I used to think कि ये है, and economics was my interest zone. Physics and chemistry I only wanted to do as long as I had to do, which means it was until 11th and 12th. Arts में I wasn't as interested either. So I think for me this was the path that I could see कि LSE, and although I didn't know this before, but now it all adds up. If I tell you कि I already knew this, कि maths and economics लूँगी, LSE जाऊँगी, Goldman जाऊँगी, it would be perfect. So it's, in hindsight, the dots are adding up, but that time I didn't know. That time I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I did it because I thought I would enjoy it, and that was important, because I always believe कि it doesn't matter what you do, but you have to be very good at what you do. Can you be the best at what you do? And that's important. So this has been the motto in my life. If you pick up something, do it well.
Thank you.